sort of really join that divide, because it is quite divided. In some it'll be worse than others.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that we've got a lot of really positive cases in Te Wharetoa. The purchase of those rangipo lands from corrections. Now, that was done via iwi, via Ahu Whenua Trust. The next step is actually for the hapu to have their foot back in those lands, not just through the ownership structure of Ahu Whenua Trust, but actually because they have the mana whenua. The money to whenua sits with hapu and landowners together, but actually working together to enhance and protect that land, I think, is really a challenge, but something I look forward to. So building people, number one, carry on that. The Māori Trustee is not the only person doing this. There are a lot of people who are working on building capability. For the Māori Trustee, it's growing our capability Māori in property law, Māori in environmental practitioners, and across all those administration areas that we work within. So it's not just being able to shuffle paper together and be compliant in one area. It's actually having an end-to-end view on how to manage and govern land. And then I think those are the two top ones, making sure that we grow this workforce and that we have a better relationship with the hapu and make that part of our day-to-day lives. For my workforce here, they never separate themselves out from their hapu. I don't think that is what people inherently do. I think that legal frameworks end up separating us because, hold on, how come you guys aren't owners in there? Oh, well, you're blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. And it's like, actually, there are reasons why you have great mechanisms under Te Ture Whenua. Yeah. Another area of work that I'm really keen on getting ahead in is having specialists in the regions. So having those agri and environmental specialists in the regions located, because we were quite successful with our budget bid this year, and it's allowed us to carry on with the administrative work. Like Te Hāmua would have said, the waka is up and it's travelling in the right direction. Charlotte would like it to gain speed, but actually there is no dignity in haste. Let's actually be clear about what we don't do and what we do, but also have the specialists in the region so our people can see that we are fencing this way, we are doing, te mana, te wai, we're trying to protect the world, we're trying to farm well. Yeah. You would have noticed a lot of the compliance and the new policy that's coming up around Indigenous biodiversity, that sits on Māori whenua. Yeah. That's everyone else is farmed around the place and all the good spots, and they keep saying, oh, that land is undeveloped, and actually it holds precious taonga, and it might be just this chance with some of this policy that's coming out that Indigenous biodiversity will be valued, and we've got so much of it in Te Wharetoa. Those two forests are at least 30% each. I think Rotaida possibly 38%. Indigenous biodiversity. That's huge. Yeah. That globally, that's a huge undertaking.
Charlotte, everything you've just said has been amazing to hear you say, and a couple of things I picked out was building relationships and building people. I love that whakaaro, because I think if we lose contact or we lose relationships, then we lose our whānau, we lose our people. I think building those two things is vital to, I guess, any industry, any iwi, any hapu, any marae. As long as we have our whānau together, connected in the right way, then the waka is going to go very, very far, very, very far.
I think we also have to take it a little easy on each other. Te Hāmua and I have this thing called the cup of half knowledge. So you hear a half a story and then you run with it. That suddenly becomes fact. And then that's the Bible we live by. And it's like, actually, let's think about it. I used to get really upset because I thought people know that I'm firm, but that I am very empathetic. So I thought that my reputation would precede me. Oh, no. You're always in nappies for most people. And you're as good as your last bad decision, which is not necessarily a bad decision, but it's the one you've got to make. This no is hard. You know, saying to nannies and koros and cousins, actually, no, we're not doing it that way for these reasons. And all they hear is no.
Yeah.
And there are a ton of people doing amazing work on whenua, and they just get on and do it. They just get on and do it, and that is I think the most powerful part, because the ones that are going wap wap wap, actually, well, if we didn't go wap 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 and actually just got on and did it. You've got also trustees. We quite often hear, well, the trustees aren't owners. In case at home, it's very unusual, unless you're appointed by the court. It's very unusual for you not to be an owner. So all I can think of is it's quite an emotive thing to say, well, they're not the owners. Well, actually, they are representing the voice of the owners, and it's the owners' responsibility as much as the trustees to listen to each other. And we see that play out across the motu. So I think be kind if anything. If this global pandemic hasn't taught us anything, it's actually be kind. And you know, these things aren't ears, tutting is we've got to open them and listen, because I don't, you know, when I make decisions, I don't go out of my way to make it more difficult for people, but I abide by the laws that are laid out. But I'm also driven by law and tikanga, and that to me is as important. So I think that we can keep, hammering the fact that this isn't right. What the Native Land Court did in terms of partitioning our lands, subdividing our lands, was terrible.
Yeah.
On the other side, and unpicking that, there are mechanisms to unpick that within legislation, but actually, if we realise the series of opportunities that are in front of us around governance and administration, we would take a lot of that power back for ourselves. So unashamedly growing administrators, and when they leave and they go home, that's very powerful for me too.
Yeah.
And I learned all that when I was a commercial scientist. So I did my doctorate at home at Waihi in Te Kānu. And so beautiful Emily, my darling niece, we have to whakapapa up to Rotairena. And when I got home and got that chance to grow my professional career there, I thought in the back of my mind, if every academic or anyone who decides to do studies or things at home get that chance to do it on whenua or topics that matter to us, how empowering is that?
Yeah.
And growing scientist for 25 years was the singularly most satisfying activity of my whole commercial career.
Wow.
Is seeing that. And it's not, people will say, oh, you know, Charlotte, you're a bit of a snob, really. So absolutely not. Absolutely not. We don't need more and more people with doctorates or more. Actually, we need more and more people who know more and more to help us do more and more. Yes. That's it. It doesn't matter. In fact, when people call out, you know, Dr. Severne, I'm busy looking around. Are they talking about my brothers or, you know, who? Because it just doesn't matter. Working at making things better for ourselves is huge. And I don't mean ourselves, but I mean our hapu and our iwi. That's huge. Yeah. If you Sorry about that. Wap wap. Wap
The
wap.
best wop wop I've ever heard.
Yeah, we'll see. The best wap wap ever.
Wap.
I've got to start wrapping things up, but if we could come back to you, Te Hāmua, any final thoughts about Te Tumu Paeroa?
When I first started working for Te Tumu Paeroa, I had never heard of Te Tumu Paeroa. I didn't know what Te Tumu Paeroa did. I represent, at that stage in my life, I represented the cup of half knowledge. And yet my knowledge was even less than half. I came to this place not really knowing. I just followed Charlotte. So Charlotte was my boss over at Massey University for a little while. And I followed her into this role. I now understand that if we do our job correctly, eventually there will be no need for a Te Tumu Paeroa. The Māori Trustee, if done correctly, will no longer have a job because we will have trained our people to govern our lands, our whenua, our wahi tapu, the place where we get our mana from correctly. And we won't need to be there anymore. We are there because the system is not our system. The system and legislation is not from our tikanga. So we're there trying to do something that we're not used to doing. And there's a bunch of us that know how to do it. I had no idea. I came in with a different whakaaro, with a different group of skills that I can add to the kete. And one day I will be unemployed because there'll be no need for Te Tumu Paeroa. That day I'll grab my guitar, go back down the street and start busking again in the middle of Porirua, outside the warehouse. And I look forward to that day.
Ngā mihi e koa. Charlotte, what about yourself?
Aaron, I think that's the long view, and that's the one that I came in under with Minister Mahuta, and clearly accelerated through Minister Jackson through Vote Māori, because we've been able to secure extra budget to do that environmental and agri work. To me, that is the long view. But we've actually done quite a bit in offboarding, or what we call transitioning trusts already. And that is it, because that's tino rangatiratanga when they have it. Now, we're not doing this alone. People, you've seen them, number of large ahu whenua trusts, very successful ahu whenua trusts in Te Wharetoa, across the motu. The thing is, they're so busy in their business that they're looking around for their own people. How many actual Māori managers, farm managers do we have? My priority in training the winners of the ahu whenua young Māori farmers is to get them accelerated. So they're on all my farms. So they're on all the Māori Trustee farms. That's the thing I'm talking about. That's it. Too many of us are working hard, and then it's the same farm manager, the same farm supervisor, who are good fellas, but actually they're not owners.
Yeah.
So we gotta suck that one up, whānau, and we've got to train them. And our kids don't often want to be in the dairy. They're not like you, Aaron. They're not up at 4:30 in the morning working. A lot of them don't want to be in that dairy shed. And that getting sector knowledge and sector experience, working hard, is what gets us there in the end. Giving kids opportunity upon opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's what matters. Yeah. So I think, I applaud the work that's done, by other organisations, FOMA, the Ahu Whenua Cup Committee, all of them, and our Ahu Whenua trusts around the motu. I applaud that. We're just one cog in a big,
machine.
in a big machine.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of what we do. I'm really proud of my staff, the people that support it. Very proud of my whānau, my Te Wharetoa whānau. If I hadn't been in kindergarten there, I wouldn't have lasted 3 years in that first term. Yeah.
Oh, well, I want to thank you both for joining me. To be honest, this has been a highlight of my week, to actually talk to you both about the kaupapa and the waka that's heading in the right direction and everyone's faced in the right direction. It's unusual to find rōpū in groups that actually are on the same waka, heading towards the same direction. So, ngā mihi nui kia kōrua. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning, and wish you guys all the best for the future. Ngā mihi nui kia kōrua.
You know.
Thank you, Aaron.